Hello everyone, welcome to Cleveland. The Mythic Championship season of 2019 gets underway right here. Rich Hagan alongside Maria Bartholdi and Simon Gertzen, Pro Tour champion. Maria, let's walk everyone through what's coming over the next 3 days.
All right, let's take a look at the schedule to find out what you'll be watching here on Twitch Friday, which is of course today 3 rounds of booster draft. Then of course it is standard constructed for the rest of the day. The players bringing their cards from home, playing some standard. All right, well the feature match is ready and we are ready to go. So let's head on down for draft here at Mythic Championship Cleveland.
Hello there, welcome to the booth here at Mythic Championship Cleveland. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe, joined by Paul Chion. Thanks so much for coming along for coverage of the booster draft here on day one early in the morning. Look, the table's set. Let's head on down. It's time for the draft. All right, let's get into the first pack here for Mike Sigrist, and it looks like he has precognitive perception here and also a skewer the critics pulled to the front. He does go for the precognitive perception. So he takes a Chillbringer. Now he does have 2 5-mana spells currently, but there's a Summary Judgment and a Tithe Taker as options for him.
I started out with precognitive perception, which means if I have the ability to draw a bunch of cards, I'd much rather have removal in my deck so that I can deal with my opponent's threats and then just beat them with whatever I have. So.
Okay, if that's not a sign, I don't know what is. That is the premier gold common for the Azorius deck.
Here's an interesting one, another copy of Screaming Shield. This is a card that you can bring in out of the sideboard against the slow decks.
Like, wow!
Sphinx of Foresight here for Sigrist, and he gets past it.
Tom the Boss Ross here kicking his draft off with a pretty nice card there, Ethereal Absolution.
That's an absolute bomb, Maria. That is probably the best rare you can open. He didn't even consider the Bedevil as far as I saw it. So here, picking and cutting the black-white cards seems to be a very solid plan. And he's staying true to his overall strategy that we've mapped out here. We see Consume, we see Blade Jugger, we see the Exaltation. That is some power level, and it's a difficult pick. Blade Juggler considered to be one of the best commons in the set.
Basilica Bellhaunt, that's a nice one, talking about rewards.
And we are ready for round 1 action. We're watching booster draft here for Ravnica Allegiance. Down in the feature match area, you see we've got Mike Sigrist on the left-hand side of your screen. Sitting across from him, a tough customer as well. Thiago Saporito from Brazil plays for Team Hauria Latin.
If you just look at, in terms of just the talent, I mean, you would say that these are probably the 2 best players in the pod. Thiago Saporito has one of the best rares in the format in his hand, but he's not going to play it out. You see that biogenic ooze that's sitting in Thiago's hand, but he does smell some kind of counter magic here.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Ooze goes on the stack. A great read. Wow, Saporito has been playing beautifully this game. And turns out Sigrist packs up his cards, and that is game number 1.
Oh, Mike has a Sphinx of Foresight in his opening hand.
Yes,
so
he does
get the Scry 3.
There's Biogenic Ooze on turn 5 with no quench. Mike Sigrist has to say, sure, you got it, and this is about done.
Yep.
So that's going to do it. In fact, going to prompt a concession from Mike Sigrist. So that Ooze just crushing it. Let's see how they're doing as we pop into this one, because Tom, we got to watch draft, and he opened perhaps the best card in the set, Ethereal Absolution. It's on the short list.
Tom really stuck to his guns, tried to cut Orzhov as hard as he could, got rewarded in Pack 2 with a ton of great cards, but again, in Pack 3, the person passing to him was very likely in Orzhov and got almost nothing in the last pack.
First time for everything, Paul. This is my first time in the format with Scrabbling Claws on the battlefield. So Tom Ross shows up and just breaks it.
Yeah, but Tom missed his second land drop here.
Yeah, but he's got Scrabbling Claws.
Oh, so. and Francisco's playing a Rick's Mighty Reveler, so now Tom has a target for the Scrabbling Claws because you cannot actually sack the claws.
Hilarious.
Unless you know, unless there's a target.
You're right.
This might get Tom back into it, actually.
Here's land number 2 and an Impassioned Orator from Tom Ross.
What is this?
Is that Captive Audience?
Oh, wow.
Wow, turn 7. He did not miss a land drop this entire
I'm
game.
so excited for this. By the way, Tom has an answer in his hand.
Oh, no. Does he have final payment? Oh, my God. Tom has final payment in his hand. Captive Audience is under his control.
He owns the Captive Audience. What's really funny is a member of the coverage team, Rashad, was telling me this exact story. His opponent played...
He doesn't see it, Paul.
He didn't see it.
He did not figure it out. And
Oh,
so he's going to
no.
sacrifice the Footlight Fiend. And this is probably going to cost him the game.
Right.
This is easily lethal. Yeah, he's got a Hasty Gore Clan Wrecker as well as everything else. And that's the hand being extended. Francisco, and look,
He's
he
telling
did
him
see
no.
it. He did know.
No.
And we are all set for round 3 action, where we have on the left-hand side of your screen, that's Mike Sigrist from Team Channel Fireball, and his competitor here, Stuart Parnes from the United States, plays for Team RIW Hobbies. Now, Paul, what you see here is actually pre-game actions taking place. This is Sigrist has revealed Sphinx of Foresight and is resolving his Scry 3. Boy, but Mike really has struggled somehow with his blue mana. On his main phase here, he's going to get that 2 life point bump and try to dig deeper into his deck, and once again, he didn't find it. Now, this is an interesting situation, too. Another way for Stuart to take advantage of the type of removal that Mike is running is Blood Mist Infiltrator.
Mike, it looks like he's not really putting a lot of pressure, but he does find the second blue source here for the Sphinx of Foresight.
Yeah, but we're going to see Stuart crack back here very nicely in his own way, because he gets to now use his own Summary Judgment to take down that key flyer.
So I think this might be Vigilance and just a swing with everything. And now this is going to put Stuart down to 2. So not a whole lot of cards. I mean, I think this one is just over because
of the Thought Collapse.
Because of the Thought Collapse in Mike's hand.
And that's exactly the case. He draws another land, and Stuart Parnes with 2 lands in hand says, I've seen enough.
I think a card that would be very, very strong is a card like Justiciar's Portal, because that is a way to basically, that's basically a 2-mana Demystify.
And here we go. Stuart's going to kick things off with Azorius Locket and Triple Island now, and kaboom! Here we go. Turn 4 on the play for Stuart Parnes, and he's got the Azorius Night Arbiter down. So significantly ahead on board, although there is a Plains now from Mike. This is big now for Stuart Parnes. He's going to crack this Locket on end step, and he needs to find something to stop that Chillbringer. If he does, he could be in pretty darn good shape here.
So there's 5 blockers on board.
Maybe just a gate here for Stuart? Make this easy for him? No.
Gate would do it, although he's got 5 in his deck and 4. Wait, he's got all 5 gates in play.
Oh, he's just going to attack with everything. Is this a lethal attack?
Oh, it is just a
It is
a lethal attack.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Sigrist on the way out says, let's see what else you sideboarded, my friend. And well done, Stuart, maneuvering himself to a win and really flexing that sideboard.
Honestly, it seems like the best route to victory for Mike is the mill plan, which is why you saw that Screaming Shield.
Yeah, I like that a lot. All right, looks like we're underway here in game number 3, so sit back and relax.
Oh, and Stuart has the card that I was talking about before the match even started, I believe. I think he's got that Angelic Exaltation in hand.
Oh, yeah.
So he can sneak that one through.
Really,
this is a
truly
really
matter.
good window to play Angelic Exaltation. If Mike still has Thought Collapse, he now has the Quench backup here.
Oh,
we talk
look at
about how
this.
important this card is in the matchup. So this is big. And this is, Stuart being patient might pay off.
And Mike has to go for it here,
Right.
so there's the Quench. So it did work out for Stuart Parnes, and he resolved an absolutely key card in a matchup like this. Now he has great attacks.
Gets in for 6
Boom!
this turn.
You mentioned it before the game, before the round even started. You were talking about Angelic Exaltation being a killer in a matchup like this, and we get to see it now.
Right.
So here we go. Can he find an answer? Land?
And I really...
That was Explosive Daylight.
Was it?
Yes. And we are back to business. Mike can just fire this off on the main phase and blunt the assault quite cleanly.
And
there it is.
Look at that sideboard card. I mean, to be fair, Mike has cast 3 Sphinxes
Yes.
Insights and a Precognitive
Yes.
Perception and scryed 3 cards to the bottom.
Yeah, so he has dug, but he found it. Okay, he needs Screaming Shield.
And you can tell, like, Mike's playing at
he just drew
blistering
Screaming
speed.
Shield.
Okay.
Yes, he just found Screaming Shield off the top of the library, and now all of a sudden he has this mana sink that he can use to start throwing
he's
it
gonna
on
move it
different
around.
creatures. He should activate it now and move it onto something else. Sigrist is going to get a quick
we got the count.
7, it looks like.
So 3 activations.
Yeah, and that's going to do it. Stuart Parnes extends the hand, and Mike Sigrist.
Andrea Mengucci on the left of our screen here, one of the winningest players out of Italy. He is elected to play with Sultai mid-range. And on the other side of things, that man right there, Reid Duke of Team Ultimate Guard. He is on Mono Blue Tempo, one of the very popular decks in this format. We will see how he's able to shape things up, but we can see things here kicking off with an Ice Age Island. Reid does love his classic basic lands straight into a Mistcloaked Herald, so he's threatening a bunch of unblockable damage early doors in this game.
Yep. And actually he has the premier start of this deck, which is the Turn to Curious Obsession.
And that means that Reid Duke already in the driver's seat here. He's got Andrea Mengucci down to 13 with a bunch of tenacious sources of damage that can be difficult for the Italian pro to stop. Yeah, Reid Duke having the option here of playing Opt before he then fires off any sort of response here. And it doesn't take very much for Reid Duke to just be able to cement that first game, able to pick up the game 1 win in pretty straightforward fashion. So it looks like Mengucci has elected to keep his 6, and the Scry there has left a card on top, so we will find out exactly what he's working with soon enough as he kicks things off there with a Watery Grave coming into play tapped. And it's second verse, same as the first for Reid Duke as he comes along with a Mistcloaked Herald. Well, it looks like Reid Duke has one plan, but it's a very good plan. He is going to be attacking with a Curious Obsession, Enchanted, Mistcloaked Herald once again, and this time just playing a land, passing with mana up. Andrea Mengucci, I mean, at least he's going to have some time after this round, because I think it could be very tough for him to get out of this one. Once you're drawing 2 cards a turn, almost everything seems like it's working out better, but Reid Duke here, every reason to feel very happy with his start as he plays out a Surge Mare there, which is going to be difficult to be blocked by most of the creatures in Mengucci's deck. And there's the handshake, Duke advancing to 5-0 in straightforward fashion, it must be said here. Vying for constructed mastery here, we have Piotr Glogowski on the left of our screen from Poland. Then on the other side of things from Glogowski, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz. There you see him. He is just in a very zen place right now as we prepare for this game to start. Now looking at the hand of Piotr Glogowski there, he has straight fire. He's got Vraska's Contempt and Assassin's Trophy to deal with whatever threats that come down. Gradually each of these boards going wider. And potentially this is a game that has a chance of going quite long. And as soon as Vraska Relic Seeker comes down, in spite of the fact that Piotr Glogowski is still at a pretty much untouched life total there, he scoops them up. So we see essentially Glogowski with the kind of mocking alternative of these hands. He does have the Overgrown turn, meaning he gets the Land Morels down that much earlier, and a turn 2 Thief of Sanity. This is how Piotr Glogowski drew it up. My goodness, we have 2 copies of Thief of Sanity here. If ever there was a game where Thief of Sanity is going to be very relevant, exactly this one. Lots of cards leaving the top of Jean-Emmanuel Depraz's deck here. A cast down being cast to deal with Hostage Taker, getting back Hostage Taker, and there's the handshake. Depraz, well, honestly, he was never really in that final game.
6-0, Patrick Chapin in the feature match area with Sultai midrange here in Standard. He's playing against Rob Pisano, who's on Esper control.
This matchup is super interesting because you have the tier 1 deck of the format Sultai midrange against the control deck in Esper control, and of course it's all about late game. We're talking about Planeswalkers, we're talking about Hydroid Krasis, and of course the threat of Find Finality, just getting back 2 of these big threats late stage. But Pisano also quite scary here with the Search for Escanta into Thief of Sanity draw.
Ooh, but look at that. Right off the top of the library, a Crawl Harpooner from Patrick Chapin. Kill your Thief of Sanity. That's part of the reason why it's there.
So I don't think you cast Vivian Reid here, knowing that then your opponent can just slam something like a Teferi. Or maybe you do.
No, he's just going to run Vivian Reid into that negate, pass the turn back. Was there a land off the top there for Rob? Okay.
That was dangerous to just run out Vivian. This is the turn where Pisano could top deck a land to resolve Teferi. So in the end, it definitely punished him for going for that.
Patrick, yeah, for sure. Here's an 8/8 flying trampling Krasis, 4 cards and 4 life for Chapin. But Teferi is on 8 and ready to make an emblem. So there it is, Hydroid Krasis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and leaves himself with 1 or 2 cards. I think 1. Exile all of your lands. And he has the Hydroid Krasis. This is turn 0. Yeah, and look at this. Now, you know, this actually doesn't come up that often where you get to see it happen. That was Teferi, cast it, put it, 2 cards down from my library. In other words, make it become my library.
Wait. I think Hostage Taker has to target a creature when it enters the battlefield.
I feel like it does too, although... All right, well, there was a concession there, and that is Rob Pisano scraping out a victory against the Hall of Famer, Patrick Chapin. Reid Duke playing for Team Ultimate Guard. He's playing mono, blue, tempo. His opponent on the other side of the table, same record. Rob Pisano from Team Cardboard Live. Duress use. Let's see what's going on in Reid's remaining 5 cards, says Rob Pisano. Perhaps a Spell Pierce from Duke, as he is considering his options. Yeah, he's going to cast Spell Pierce. Reid has just not had those typical starts for this deck where they play a 1-drop evasive threat looking to play that Curious Obsession on it.
Reid's draws have not been great.
No.
He's made a tremendous game out of it in game 1.
And Kaya Orzhov Usurper is going to do work on this board because Reid just had to play 2 1-drops into it. So
and you can
one
see
of them's gone.
Pisano is super proactive, right?
Yes.
It's like proactive card after proactive
Yeah, look
card.
at his graveyard and board.
Yep.
Yeah. This is insulting, though. Look at what Rob's done. He's stolen the Terramander and now adapted it, and he's killing Reid with his own Terramander.
None of these 2 games have been the archetypical way this matchup plays out, especially game 2. I think game 1, we actually saw it.
Did he just kill him? He just ultimated Kaya for lethal. And that's going to do it. Rob Pisano playing Esper aggro somehow, removes every threat, steals one of them, and even kills him with the Planeswalker, and sends Reid Duke packing.
There were a lot of options, but at the end of the day, this was the most played deck. That's going to be Hydroid Krasis. Now, this card, I mean, I just saw so many of these close games ultimately end with somebody going, oh, Hydroid Krasis for 6, Hydroid Krasis for 8. It is ultimately just the mid-range Mirror Breaker. Also gives you a shot against control decks because it's basically uncounterable in terms of card draw effect, and it's just done so much. And even at earlier points in the curve, it has utility. Even at 4 mana, at 6 mana, it's still a reasonable card. So that clearly has to be the card of the day for me.
At the end of day 1 here, let's take a look at our leaderboard to find out how everybody else is doing in the tournament as we head towards tomorrow. Of course, your 2 undefeated players, Rob Pisano, Michael Bonda at 8-0, and some excellent players at 7-1 as well, Rich.
And we will do it all again. If you got to 4 wins or better, you get to come back. But you at home get to come back, win, lose, or draw, because we'll be here to bring you all the action as day 1 turns into day 2 of Mythic Championship Cleveland. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in the morning.